Both these instances pointed to a fundamental concept that I had taken for granted until this point: money. We're taught in school, you see, to just pursue our passions blindly, and that money will come as a byproduct. However, as I matured, I realized that money is the crucial tool needed in every industry, and it is the crucial sustenance needed for every daily activity for every single household, everywhere in the world. So if money is so important, then why in the world in school are we taught to pursue our passion despite a lack of money? For the first time in my life, I started to doubt everything I was taught about passion and money until this point. There are two instances in my engineering career that made me rethink engineering for good. I never thought I would talk about this in public, but here I am sharing my journey with you. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Lisa. I went to the University of Colorado in Boulder for engineering school. During my master's year, something happened that made me quit my PhD trajectory. I ventured off into industry afterwards, and during that time, something struck me that made me quit my industry job and rethink traditional engineering for good. I knew I loved to do research and I loved to teach. This was instilled to me during my graduate school days, where I did research for the mechanical engineering department, as well as teach through mechanical, civil, and environmental engineering departments. I stayed at CU for graduate school due to my master's being fully funded. I cover this in this video because it was one of the ways I could avoid really bad debt in my 20s. During this time, my advisor saw the potential of my thesis into a potential bigger, larger dissertation research and had suggested that I partner up with one of her colleagues from a private Ivy League university because their research lab was more fully funded. I was so excited at the potential of expanding my thesis into a dissertation that I jumped on the bandwagon immediately. After months of trying to connect with this institution and working with their research lab, I realized I could never conduct this research alone if I had to stay in Boulder, and the best way to expand it is if I joined their lab at this university. I won't name the university or the research lab. This university had the heads up against my university because of money. They had all the funding, and unfortunately, because some of the funding was private, this research had turned into something completely different than what it was intended to be. This was no one's fault, but I mentioned this due to the sheer nature of research I wanted to share with you. Unfortunately, researchers are not paid well enough, and they stay in research purely because of the love of learning, contributing, and discovering. I had an absolutely amazing advisor who did her best to connect me to a larger facility because she knew I love to do what I love to do. In the few months to follow, trying hard with this research, something really hit me. My first hard truth. In research engineering, funding will always dictate the path of your research, no matter how hard you try or how bright of an idea you may have. I think at this point, if you are a research engineer or someone actively doing research in the science community, you probably understand at this point what I'm trying to say. I ventured off to industry to see if I could learn something from industry engineers. I had colleagues that were incredibly bright, coming from different work backgrounds and different university experiences. I learned very quickly that traditional engineering is also changing. You see, back in the days, almost all engineering degrees would lead to some kind of great lucrative career that everyone desired to be in. Somehow, these days though, the only engineering job that can make a decent retirement to support your family and your kids, let's say if you're the only person working in the household, is software engineering at a big FANG institution, provided that you are not laid off due to the ever-changing economic climates, because everyone's laying people off in that industry these days. During this period of time, I met many senior engineers who had stayed in their industry for a very long time and spoke of this shared driven mission that people their age would strive to do towards together. People seldom in senior engineering level quit and jump firm to firm because of great incentives and really great talent retention, maybe 30 years ago. These days, I find junior engineers such as myself having to hop from firm to firm in order to gain a bigger bonus and bigger incentive to survive the ever-fluctuating economic climate. i.e. inflation. That leaves a crucial difficulty among all engineering industries right now: the lack of mid-level engineers. In the United States, the salary for a junior engineer is around $70,000 to $85,000 for entry-level junior engineers. I break down my paycheck in this video. You can go hop on, have a look. And for senior engineers, about $150,000 to $250,000, with slight state-to-state and industry-to-industry variations in these pay ranges, of course. And if you've made it to senior level engineering, you're probably in your 40s or your 50s. You've worked really, really, really hard, 20 years something of experience, and you're probably incredibly overworked due to the lack of mid-level engineers there to support you. If you're wondering at this point how engineering industries work, it's not necessarily about the type of engineering degree you get, i.e. mechanical, civil, chemical, electrical, but it's more about what industry you find yourself in later on. In larger firms, you are not promoted as fast because most of the attention is focused on talent attraction versus talent retention. And at this point, you might be wondering, what is the reason why engineers stay? Well, engineers are some of the most passionate people that you'll ever meet. And they are probably one of the only people I have met that will stay at a certain job because they love what they do, even if it means that they get less pay. On the contrary, small firms may promote you really fast with great talent retention, but work you so hard. I worked for a small firm in consulting in renewable energy, and while my pay was really decent for a junior engineer that was non-software, I remember receiving emails from my manager at 3 a.m. in the morning, and our senior engineers working something like 60 to 70 hours per week at least. One day, through conversation with a colleague, I remember him saying to me, I wonder what would have happened if I would have dared to pursue my passion in my 20s instead of picked up a job and started working it. But when I do have that thought, I try to slap myself out of that thought because I have mouths to feed and I have to keep working. After that day, I learned my second hard truth. In industry, engineers either sacrifice their passion for pay or their pay for passion. Both these instances pointed to a fundamental concept that I had taken for granted until this point: money. We're taught in school, you see, to just pursue our passions blindly and that money will come as a byproduct. However, as I matured, I realized that money is the crucial tool needed in every industry, and it is the crucial sustenance needed for every daily activity for every single household, everywhere in the world. So if money is so important, then why in the world in school are we taught to pursue our passion despite a lack of money? For the first time in my life, I started to doubt everything I was taught about passion and money until this point. I have met many entrepreneurs in my life, including my parents, that teach the opposite to me. Make money, understand how finances work, and go out there one day using your finances to pursue your passion. I started to realize that there is more than just basic truth in what they're saying. They are saying probably a bigger picture than what the average 9-to-5 worker is seeing and what the average student is taught. Through much prayer and much self-needed education, I decided to take the concept of money a lot more seriously than I had before. I'm really truly passionate about mission and ministry work with my husband one day. And I realized that if we are stuck in either of these engineering situations, it will be extremely hard for us to pursue something that we had dared to dream when we were in college. If you're in a situation today where you're struggling to balance your passion versus your financial situation, then I urge you to ask yourself something that I had asked myself years ago when I was in the same boat. Is my passion today going to sustain my living for tomorrow? If so, go for it. But if not, how can I build an income today to fund my passion for tomorrow? Take care.